Well, hey there. Welcome back to the People Gardener podcast. Oh, I've been waiting for this guest because she speaks to an area of my business that I struggle with. And I'm hoping that the business owners that are listening, they struggle too. And it's about video, producing those videos, getting on the social media, just being comfortable in front of the camera. So welcome, Faye. So excited to have you here.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited on this with you. It's such a nice invitation. So thank you.
I've been watching her social media feed, and she does in-person workshops as far as the video and how to put it all together and whatnot. But I'm having her on because she has a membership that she's going to be promoting and opening here in the next little bit. And it's a way to help small business owners with video. So I think how I want to start is for you to talk about what you do and how you've come to do what you do and kind of where you're headed.
Yeah. So I started it in the realm of brick and mortar business ownership as well. So that's why I have a special place in my heart for small business owners, especially because I've been there and I get it. And I know what it's like to wear all the hats and have to do all the things. And 7 years ago, I started helping other business owners with their video. Someone asked me to help, and it just snowballed from there. So I've been a video producer for the last 7 years, and it's ranged everywhere from a one-person service provider to the brick and mortar family-owned, down the street business to national corporations. So I've had a wonderful experience of being able to help with video for so many different kinds of business owners. But what I've found was that they all have a common thread. And it's, there's a lot of things that people will say. They'll say, well, it takes a lot of time. It's complicated. I don't feel comfortable on camera. And, that's how we all feel. We didn't grow up doing this.
Little do they know, appearances, they may say that we look fine and we're comfortable, but we're not.
No, and it's like anything else. We have to learn how to do this. And so, there's the one side where it seems like it's complicated or too time consuming to do yourself. So, I have a friend of mine who is a consultant, a corporate consultant, and he said, I don't think I'll ever want to do it myself. I would rather outsource. I would rather have you just come in, Faith, and just do it. And I get that too, because that's a time saver for a lot of businesses, but that also can be something that's not sustainable because it gets to be very costly. So where's the line? I've worked with businesses who have said, we had someone come in and do a gorgeous video, but that's where it stops. And so now we're going to maybe do some things on our phone. And so where's that in between? And I said, there's so much that can be done that people don't even realize. There's a lot of misconceptions. There's some mistakes. I don't like to call them mistakes. It's not a mistake. It's just, learning how to do things better and learning how to do it so that you can stand out, that you can feel an authentic connection. That's my biggest thing of doing video now, because we can say, oh, we need to get strategic with video. And I like that because that means planning. We need to plan just like we have to plan everything else in our business. But we don't want it to be inauthentic. We don't want it to be manipulative. I know you talked about authenticity on your last solo podcast, which I really loved. And what I mean by authentic connection is that, AI is here and there's so many ways to do video using AI. And we want to have relationships. Who are we speaking to? We're speaking to one person at a time. And so we're either, answering questions or educating or just being connected. And we just happen to have these wonderful tools, and we can do it through video, and we can do it with the phone. There are many professionals who use phones, and there are professionals who use DSLRs, and I use both. And so the idea is to find what works best for you that fits in your business. There's no rules. You can do it however you want. That's the beauty. There is no one telling you. There's no video police telling you, oh, you have to make videos this way. But what I will say is find the style that fits your personality, that fits your business, that fits your brand. Are you a single service provider in your town? Are you, a solo bookkeeper is an example that I have because I just helped a woman with this. Or are you a brick and mortar business, a family-owned business? that's been around for 20 years in your town, or are you a national corporation? There's different videos that are going to serve in different ways. And so I say, what is authentic to you so that it works for your business, it works for your brand, and it's something that you can do on a regular basis that fits into your schedule. So like with you, you have this wonderful setup and you've made it efficient, right? Where you can sit down, turn on the camera, turn on Zoom, and film what you need to film. That's the same thing in a business setting where we just find, okay, what can work with who we have on staff, and who maybe we don't have someone on staff, someone has to do it themselves. What are the tricks? What are the things that we can take advantage of now to make this part of our maybe weekly practice?
One of the things that really intrigued me when I was in corporate and leading teams of people, I started asking those that were in my departments, like, "Okay, so what are your hobbies? What do you like to do? What are some things that you're really good at that I don't know about?" And I would venture to say that there's somebody on staff that already knows how to do all this stuff. They haven't done it for you. It's this is what they do. And with so many people on, especially the TikTok platform where people are creating video and doing things, you may have multiple people in your company right now that are proficient at this, that would love to actually grab hold of this and do this
Mhm.
work for the company. So it isn't necessarily that you, specifically the business owner, have to do all the things. It could be the only thing you have to do is somebody's going to put up the camera, you have to say what you have to say, and then you walk away and you're done. And somebody else looks after the rest.
Oh yeah, that's exactly how I grew over the last, oh, I want to say started 7 years by myself, but then I was part of an 8-figure local business here, brick and mortar. They had to expand their presence, especially during 2020, 2021. They had to expand their presence online. Sold nutritional products. They're a very well-known nutrition company. They said, okay, we need a YouTube channel. And how are we going to do this efficiently? Because the CEO is busy. He's busy. He's running around. Everybody has the same story. So we had a very well-oiled process, but we had to learn it ourselves. We said, okay, we need to have a set. We need to know how to run these cameras. We need to know lighting. We need to know how to use a microphone. And then what is the content? Because it was educational content for them. You know, any business can do educational content, answering FAQs and making that a library on YouTube, making that a library on their website. And so we were able to film and edit and process 4 videos a week so that they had one video every week that they could put on YouTube, and that served their audience, that served their customers, that served their visitors on their website. And it was wonderful. It was exactly what they needed in their marketing plan to stay in front of their customers, especially during a time when people weren't coming out to the stores. And so that's what we were finding, someone on the team that either knows how to do this already, even if it's just as simple with a phone,
Right.
and maybe with a microphone that's attached to the phone. It, everybody's doing this now, it seems, right? There's still a lot of businesses that aren't, but it can be that simple, and then it can grow from there. And that's when I had that light bulb turn on. I said, we were a team of 5 in this company. We had a graphic designer, we had a writer, we had a videographer, we had an editor, but we had to learn all of these things. And it would have been nice if we had a resource to teach us this instead of cobbling it all together. And so I said, okay, I'm going to be that person because I was on that team and I did this. And so this is something that can be taught to others, no matter how small or large the business is. So that's what I got really excited about, that I said, I've been through this. I can teach this.
Awesome. Okay, so let's back up a little bit. In your estimation, your experience, why is video so important that people actually grab hold of it and start implementing it?
Well, if you think about it, how did we feel connected to companies to begin with? Through television, through commercials. But now video is just a way of life with how we interact with the rest of the world. Social media, different platforms for different personalities, but video is so important because I always say people need to see your face and they need to hear your voice
Mhm.
and they need to feel connected to you. And people are going to do their research when they're think about anything that you want to explore, a service, a product, anything, you're going to go online and research it. And video will help close that gap when you're trying to educate your customers, your potential customers. It's a relationship tool. It can be something that can be done very quickly because of AI now. But I think if we're not getting in front of the phone or in front of a camera and actually being more comfortable speaking to a person as if they're standing right in front of us, we're missing out because people are smart. You can't scam people. You have to be authentic and you have to build that relationship, but it's now through the lens because that's just how the world works. We shop through video, we learn through video. Video is just part of our world where maybe, how many years ago when there was no internet, there was no
Yeah.
YouTube and everything was on television so separate. There's no separation now. That's how we live our life. And so it's a necessity to put that somewhere in our business, and it can be fun. It doesn't have to be so serious. It doesn't, and you can be raw, you can be real. It doesn't have to be polished. There's so many different ways that we can represent ourselves, and people appreciate that realness. So putting that pressure on ourselves to be perfect all the time, that's where I came from, where I went through a place where putting myself on video in this time of my life, I was really hard on myself. I had done television years ago, and then I see myself now, how many years later, and I was criticizing myself and avoiding the camera. And it sounds silly to say now, but I've been through that as well, where I understand it's daunting. And so I really liked the idea of forming a community so that people feel supported and they feel like they're not doing it alone.
Right.
It's
I
very
know.
lonely sitting in a
Yeah.
room and looking at a camera.
I know we talked about this, I think it was last week. I don't fear the camera. I don't fear talking in front of the camera. I'm fine with that. Where me as a business owner and having to produce content, mine is more the tech. It's like putting everything together and actually doing the thing, editing the thing,
Oh yeah.
that part of it. And I try hard to batch things because I find I have to talk myself into, okay, it's time. You need to do some. Well, if I bang out 4 or 5 of them, then I can wait for a while before I have to do more type of thing. How do you address that particular mindset
Oh
in
yeah.
business owners?
Oh yeah, that's the pain in the butt behind this whole thing. No one wants to be bothered. It's lights. So my whole thing is I have this mantra in my head: camera, light, sound, and set. Camera, light, sound, set. Now within that, how simple can I make this? Because it can always be more complicated.
Yeah.
So if we're one person, what's my camera? Okay, I'm a phone. And I'm going to put my phone on a stand, maybe. Or maybe I'm just going to hold my phone and talk to it. But maybe I'm not comfortable with that yet. Where's my comfort zone? So my camera and the tech about lighting, I tell people start in front of a window with your phone, because the light from the window on your face, put the phone on a stand. Those are my two things. Sound is important because people will click off if the audio of a video isn't great. But if you're sitting close to your phone, the sound is fine. It's when you need to maybe demonstrate something or move away from the camera with some distance where a microphone in your phone is very helpful. It makes all the difference. And they're inexpensive. You can get them for less than $50. Camera, light, sound, and set. So how do you want to represent your brand? How are you representing yourself? What kind of video is this? Is this raw and real? Is it casual? Or is it more toward your business?
Can it be a
And so,
mix?
yes. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, it,
Yeah.
it really should be a mix. It really should be mixed because I always say, first of all, there's 3 steps. So I broke it down to like 3 steps. First of all, figure out if you're going to do this on a regular basis, maybe once a week, you're going to dedicate maybe an hour once a week where you're going to do something. And it might not even have to be something that you have to, you might be going somewhere like to a networking event. You might be going to a meeting in town, you might be going to some kind of professional event or even a social event, and that could be your video of the week. That could be your presence. But where are your people, I say? So my two favorite platforms for me, for my business, happen to be LinkedIn and Instagram. And I don't really participate much on Facebook except for the coaching group that I'm part of, that we're a part of. If my people are on LinkedIn and Instagram, my videos might be slightly different. Or sometimes I do one video for both platforms. You know, it's really your call. But if you keep it very, very simple to start with a phone, make sure you're in some good light, make sure you can be heard. That's all the tech you need. That's all we need to do. You can always learn more. And I even put together a whole kind of guideline on how to do more, because I didn't start using DSLR cameras and lights and professional microphones. I didn't start doing that either. I started with a phone, with a microphone, with that one CEO that asked me for help in the very beginning. That's how we filmed his very first video.
Okay,
So the tech does not have to hold you back.
no, talk to me about B-roll. It was so interesting. We were at a conference last December, and somebody was talking on stage about B-roll, and I had no clue what they were talking about. But what it opened up for me is the definition of what video is or can be. So talk about how to use that. And here's a perfect example. I keep telling myself when I'm doing these interviews for my podcast, I need to have my camera off to the side, actually filming me do this, because then I can take pieces and cuts of that as the video that goes into something. And I can never remember to do that. So I've got to get better at that. But talk about this B-roll, because I found that knowledge, it made the wait seem so much less as far as producing content.
Yeah, behind the scenes. So that's another. So I don't necessarily, when I post videos of myself on my social media, on LinkedIn or Instagram, I'm not necessarily talking to the camera every time. B-roll is exactly what you said. Well, there's two ways to identify B-roll, but in the way that you're speaking of, it's yes, having maybe your camera on a stand and it's on the time-lapse feature and it's showing you in your element doing what you do in your business or at your desk. Even just having your phone set up at your desk, watching you on your laptop is B-roll. That's extra footage. That's footage that you're not necessarily speaking directly to the camera. It's behind the scenes. It doesn't necessarily have a voice attached to it. You can add some music to it if you use like an editing app on your phone. Those are fun and easier to do because it's just, you're doing something. Hey, you might as well have your phone set up to capture some of it. And it can be as easy as that, taking that little clip and just showing what's going on in your business that day. So yeah, I do the same thing. So I was doing a live stream for a nonprofit that I'm a part of. And when I'm doing that live stream, I had my phone set up in time-lapse mode to capture showing me doing what I was doing. So yeah, that's a really great way to get content because it's not interrupting your day, it's going along with your day.
Well, what has happened for me is I've had some of these when I remember some of these, but just to pop into Canva, I can put that in. I can duplicate it 5 times. I can change the transparency. I can change the color, and I can add text. And all of a sudden, I've got 5 done, like you say, in an hour. And it's like, okay, I'm good. And it just makes it so much less heavy and laborious to actually do these videos. And yet you are getting that video part that in Instagram, it would be a reel. You can add music, you can do whatever you want to it. But yeah, I just really find that was my mind blown.
We have access to these tools that we didn't have before, where you can be your own little mini media company, really, because You have the tool in your pocket. You have things like Canva. It's really fun to do when you find the style that works for you.
Right.
I tell people first, find out where, am I going to do this once a week? Yes. Okay. Where are my people? Where are the people that I'm trying to reach? What is the goal of the video? Am I speaking to a potential customer? Am I speaking to current customers? Am I just speaking to my friends, or just not, when I say speaking, I mean connecting
Right.
with whoever you want to have watching. Where are those people? So maybe this week I want to put something on LinkedIn because I was at a professional event. Next week, I'm going to maybe repurpose that on Canva and make it look and sound a little different and put that on Instagram. So finding that style. So I have 4 styles. The first one we talked about the faceless video. So maybe you're showing where you are at an event and your face isn't even on camera, because some people, they're not ready. They say they're not ready to put their face on camera. So maybe just show a video of the garden. I show my husband doing the garden in the summertime, and that's my video. Maybe it's a shared selfie. That's the second one, where you want to highlight who you're with. And it's more comfortable to put your phone up and to say, hey, we're at the chamber event this week and we've seen so many great XYZ people, and you can shout out some local businesses that you're connected with. That's a really great way to share the content and tag each other and really have that connection and interaction. Showing it behind the scenes, like we said, is a really fun and easy, quick way to do it with your phone. And then when you're ready to actually speak to the lens, sharing a tip. What do you share with your clients, your customers on a weekly basis? What are the frequently asked questions that you get all the time that you can speak about in your sleep? Those are the easiest things to talk about on camera. That's valuable content. It's comfortable for you, it's valuable for them, and it's fast and easy to do. So those are the styles that I recommend starting with.
Awesome. Okay, so now you have mentioned DSLR numerous times. I happen to know what that is, but I'm not sure if my audience all know what that is. So tell us.
So like a Canon camera, Canon or Sony or Nikon that you see photographers running around with. The reason I switched from a phone to a Canon camera is because it does allow you more control with some things, and it's easy to learn the settings. I made a little cheat sheet where you can learn how to set it up on a tripod and have that as your camera. That's what I'm using now as my webcam today, so that your phone is freed up to get that extra B-roll. Professional videographers use DSLR cameras. It's not absolutely necessary, but it is a great tool to have on site at your company. So a great example of this is when I was speaking about the creative team that I was on. We had one room in headquarters. We set it up so it was branded. They had some wall hangings behind them. They had some branded things behind them, their brand colors behind them. That was our video studio. We had 2 Canon cameras set up. And because the CEO was very busy, we said, okay, we know what our topics are going to be. We're going to talk about these 5 vitamins. We had it written out, and we had it on a teleprompter that you can put on your camera. So the CEO would come in, we said, okay, we have an hour. He would sit down. He was very comfortable on camera. He had a very fun personality, and he would just read the teleprompter because it was set up on the Canon camera. He would read from the teleprompter. We would get 4 done, and then he'd go off on his day. So when you have a DSLR like that, it makes it easy to make content in that way, if that's what serves your business. But it's not absolutely necessary. Like I said, I tell people, please just start with your phone. That's where we're all starting.
Right. So do you have, for yourself, for your business, you post to LinkedIn and Instagram, do you have a schedule or a set number of posts that you commit yourself to? Or are you just posting as you make a video or as you feel moved to? Something might have happened, a question might have come in. How do you operate with that?
I personally have been doing things kind of just spontaneously. The organization that I'm part of, we do have a scheduling tool where you can schedule your social media posts, right, and be very, very mindful and very intentional about, okay, I'm going to this event this week. I'm going to make sure I'm filming over there. Me personally, I've been more spontaneous. I do need to get more structured in scheduling that kind of thing. If I know that something is coming up, like today, I know that this is going to go out with your podcast, and that's going to be part of my content that I'm excited to share on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
So I think ahead, what's coming up this week, what's coming up next week, and I start thinking of my posts that way. But a lot of times it's kind of in the moment, because I want to feel authentic. I want to feel connected. And I sometimes I did one recently in my car, because I filmed for a school, and I was so excited about what we did for this school that I had my phone in my car, and I just did it right then when I was driving away from the site. So you got to find what works for you. Some people need that structure and that schedule, and I fully believe in that. I have to get a little more organized with my own personal content.
Okay, one of the last things I want to touch base with you on is in your freebie, your download that I downloaded is called Video Planning Worksheet. You have something in there titled 10 Ways to Repurpose Video Content. Can you talk a little bit about how this works and if there is any pre-game planning that needs to happen if you want to repurpose it?
Yeah, repurposing is great, because you can take one piece of content, like a 5-minute video, and turn it into 10 different things that you can use for posts. And so, yeah, a little bit of pre-planning, knowing, okay, we're going to do this Zoom today, and I know we'll have a recording, and I know that Rhonda is going to put it on YouTube. And so an easy way for me to share this is I can take that link from YouTube. I can share that link everywhere. I can share it on my social media posts. I can share it in an email. I can share it in my signature, because that's the event of the day. That's the event of the week. We can take some snippets from that and make them into shorter clips. We can take some quotes and turn that into a written graphic. There are so many ways to take that one piece of content and just pick and choose different parts of it and turn them into different iterations, like a graphic. It doesn't always have to be a video. It can be an audio. It can be words on the screen. It can be a blog post. It can be part of your newsletter content. That's the beauty of taking something like a longer video, because you have so much more content you can pull from it.
Very cool. And to me, it makes so much sense. You're doing the overall work once, and then it's like a value add to
Yeah,
that 5 minutes that you just did. And now you're getting all these other things. So
exactly.
talk to us about your membership that's going to be opening here for enrollment soon.
Yeah, I'm excited about it, because I called it it's our video connection community, because that's exactly what I want it to be. I want people to feel like, okay, maybe I'm, a one-woman show, maybe I have a small team, but I want to feel a part of something, and I don't want to feel alone in creating this content. So the membership is intended to be a place where you can go, where, every other week we'll meet on Zoom. We'll have different types of videos that we can, as a game, make it a game. We can do different types of videos. We can post them on different platforms. We can use them in different ways. And we're not doing this alone. We're bringing value to our people, and we're helping our business to stay in front of people. And sometimes you don't have any ideas, and you can get some ideas from the group. The purpose of the group, the connection community, is to say, okay, we all know we need to make this content for our business. Why do we have to do this alone? And can we have fun doing it too? And then, the more polished professional videos that we want to put out there as well, those are important. And can I help in a way where people could say, okay, how do I do this so it looks like maybe a professional came in to do it? Maybe I want a video that looks like I hired a video service. Now, how can I do that so that I can save money, but it can still look that professional? So that's the intention of the community. I want to have fun with it, but I also want to really help businesses get on a schedule, be held accountable, be supported, and just stay visible online, because that's the most important thing with our businesses. And it's great to do it ourselves and save some money in the long run.
It's community that the more I travel along this online business road, even it could be a brick and mortar, the more clear it is that having a community of people is so important. I have struggled for 5, 6 years with the isolation of it, right? I'm a people person. I want to rub elbows. And now I'm having to learn how to be happy rubbing virtual elbows and changing the expectation in my head of what connection actually is. And I have those same aspirations for the People Gardener Collective, the membership. We're both launching, just so my audience knows, we're both launching memberships. We're accountability buddies, which is great. And that's what you get inside a membership, is other people who are walking the same path as you. Some are behind you, some are ahead of you, but you can all support each other in the journey.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I am an only child. I love people, and I feel so energized when I'm in person with people. But because, we're doing this online, I need that connection just like everybody else, because the very first time I was ever on television in a completely different industry, I learned that looking into the lens just felt kind of dead, you know. And so I have to think about, okay, who am I speaking to? If I'm looking at this hole, this camera, who am I speaking to? I have to picture who I'm speaking with. And that gives me energy, and that feels connected. And so the community just helps to expand that. I have so much energy talking to you, but if I was in the room by myself, just filming myself, the energy, I wouldn't feel the same. And so I think the most important part is we have to have some kind of community that'll help us get through all this.
Yeah. Very, very cool. Can people right now go and get this video planning worksheet? Like,
Yes,
yeah.
I think I have it linked on my Instagram. I don't know
Okay.
if I have it.
Okay,
I
we'll
have,
we'll make sure
yeah,
that the links are in the show notes, because
yeah.
I love the way that you've laid it out here. It's very clear, it's easy to understand, and it'll give them a good idea of who you are and what it is that you're putting together. So,
Well, thank you.
yeah,
Yeah.
awesome. Well, thanks so much for sharing. That's it for this week, folks. We'll talk to you again next week.
Thanks, Rhonda.